What happens when you did all the preparation? You took the trainings, you followed the instructions, you had good performance evaluations, you followed protocol, you came to work on time, you stayed late many times, you did everything, you went the extra mile in a lot of cases. You were considered an excellent employee. And then one day you get a notification that your services are no longer needed. What do? You got a family that depends on you. You've been working multiple jobs, and all of a sudden, some of the extra jobs are not panning out like they used to, and it's more time and more work that you don't have, and it's costing you more. You got a business, and the contracts are ending, and your steady income is gone now. And you're pouring and pouring and pouring, but you're still coming up empty. You got a mortgage, you got car payments, electric bills, food bills, doctor bills, healthcare expenses. You're just trying to stay alive. You're just trying to survive. And what do? Well, I'm going to tell you something from a personal story, from something that happened to me. And I want to give some words of encouragement to let you know, don't give up, keep on going, and position yourself in a place of success. And hopefully, when I tell you this testimony, you'll see what I'm talking about positioning your place for success. The journey is never easy. Sometimes it's not about what you've done or what you didn't do. Things happen. We call it life be lifing, I was at the top of my career, and my job ended, and contracts and stress and anxiety, and I crashed, and I couldn't even get out of bed. And family depended on me. I was a sole breadwinner, and I didn't know what to do. I saved money, had emergency funds. I did all of that. But through the stress and not knowing what to do, first time really dealing with something like this as an adult with responsibilities, I was faced with life and didn't even know nothing about anxiety at that time. It wasn't even popular, especially amongst the Black community. It definitely wasn't talked about, wasn't openly discussed as it is now. But I found out, going time and time after doctor, medication after medication, one doctor said, yeah, you basically have depression, and what you encountered is like post-traumatic stress disorder. And I'm going to give you a prescription to help you sleep and something to help you with your anxiety. But in order for you to overcome this, you're going to have to learn how to live with this. Brand new for me. Never really been sick or anything. Didn't know what to expect. Make a long story short, I ended up losing everything. Losing the house, cars, lost my rental property, my business folded under. And here it is where we had to move out of the house, and I didn't have nowhere to go. Nowhere for my family to go. So what I did is I said I've been applying for jobs every single day, multiple times, and at that time there were no jobs. There were no opportunities where I lived at. So I said I had to get away from here. I had to humble myself and somehow find a place where I could be wanted and needed. And which led me to having a discussion with one of my cousins that lived somewhere out of town. Not where I wanted to be at, not where I wanted to live at. It wasn't convenient. It was right about 100 miles from where I actually lived at. So the thought of me leaving my family behind to go and try to find a steady source of income, even though I wasn't feeling well, even though I didn't have this and that, but I had to humble myself and accept the offer for my cousin to go and spend 1 or 2 days up with my cousin, just hit the streets looking for work. It only took me probably about a month, and I had multiple job offers, but I placed myself for success. I took myself out of my comfort zone, and I placed myself to be in a place where I could be successful, where I could be wanted, where I would be needed. There was a high demand where I ended up relocating, and there was a lot of opportunities, but there wasn't too many jobs. Y'all hear that out there? Got foxes out there. I don't know if y'all can hear it in the background. But anyway, it wasn't a situation where I could thrive and prosper where I was. So I had to get up and move. And with that said, I took a chance and I left. And I stayed there a few days, and I would try to commute and work them 12 and sometimes 14-hour days at a job. Really wasn't fun on, but I was gracious to have. And then slowly I was able to move my family from the house that we were going to get foreclosed on into an apartment. Now granted, keep in mind, I was going through foreclosure. My credit was garbage. But I was lean when everything happened, and I didn't have really no credit card debt or nothing like that. And they took a chance. I wrote a letter, explained my situation, and they took a chance, and I saved up enough money to make them an offer they didn't want to refuse, and we ended up getting an apartment. So here it is. I had my family established in a place, clean, safe, good. And this job was killing me. This job was so high demand. It was crazy. The hours were crazy. And even though I lived up there, I still had to commute about an hour just to get to work. And I worked at night and then didn't get off to mid-morning sometimes. But I remember that I had to take care of my family. I had to provide for my family. I had to do what I needed to do. And I knew I didn't want to stay in that current position. So time went on. Everybody got a little stable. The kids got in school. We did with everything we need to do. We on the road, and this job is physically, mentally killing me. And I'm going to the doctor's office, and my anxiety's not getting any better, and I'm struggling. So my wife told me, hey, do what you gotta do. We'll make it, God will provide. I ended up leaving this good paying job. That's basically all it was, a good paying job. It was steady. And I ended up making the decision to go and just leave. I didn't have no place to go, but I needed to recharge because I didn't know what to do. But I was able to save just a little bit of money because I was working hard, putting in a lot of hours. And within that week, I found another job. And that job paid considerably, a lot less. But I had some hustles. I, did a little photography, did a little car repair. I had hustles to kind of help me go through that process. So I took this job, I worked this job, and I knew this wasn't the end of my career, And I knew I couldn't get comfortable. And with that job, I got a little promotion, got a little raise. It definitely released some of the pressure. Stayed there probably about a year or so, maybe a year and a half. And then I started looking for a job, and I wanted to put myself back where I was successful. So I ended up finding another location in Florida. And I knew I could prosper in Florida because I had moved away, and I knew that was the place where I could really do well for myself. So I ended up going to Florida, moving back to Florida, and all of a sudden it's like the light just came on. It's like I never missed a day. All of a sudden, job opportunities came. landed a great job, worked that job. I was able to put some money away. And just as I got my groove on, they ended the contract with this job. And here we go again, starting all over. In the meantime, the transition for me going to Florida, I was up in Georgia, south of Atlanta, but I would commute down to Tampa for training just to get this job. I would sleep on my friend's couch. I would sleep in the car sometimes, but I had to save the money to get my family down to Florida and to get us established down to Florida. You have to put your pride to the side sometimes. You have to tap into your resources. You can't be closed up and try to do it all by yourself. Thank God I had a friend, multiple friends, and without wearing out my welcome, sometimes I would stay over one friend's house for maybe like a week or so, and then I'll transition to another friend's house on his couch and stay with him for maybe a couple of days, and some days I just spend the night in my car. And I did that for a while, and I just took all my money that I made and I kept trying to keep the family sustained, but then I was saving money to move my family to Florida. So by that time, my lease was coming to an end, and once again, I was able to get another apartment here in Florida. Got an apartment, nice community, nice area, and now finally, me and my family, we was all together in the place we wanted to be. And my kids were moving around, bounced from school to school, didn't like that, but they survived. They made it because they needed mama and daddy healthy, needed us whole to pour into them. And sometimes in life, you have to do things you really don't want to do. You don't really want to struggle, but sometimes through the struggle, it builds character, it builds strength, resilience, and it also builds your faith. Because every move that I made was definitely on faith. It wasn't to no calculation or nothing that I've done. It was through the faith in God, and God guided me through that. But with that said, fast forward, I'm going to fast forward real quick. A lot of people, they look at, okay, you on a homestead, you got tractors, you got vehicles, you got a home, you got acreage, you got all of this, and they look at that and they don't see the struggle. They don't see what led up to this. Went from the apartment, bought an acre of land, tried to do a little homestead in town. The county wasn't going for it, the city wasn't going for it, so I had land that was unusable for what I needed. Sat on the land for, probably about 4 or 5 years. Then the market was down still, and I knew I was seeing signs of the market going up during the housing crash. And I had opportunities to live in communities which I ordinarily wouldn't be able to afford, but the housing was still low. So I took that chance and I saved like crazy. I fixed my lunches. I didn't spend no money. I didn't do nothing. I just buckled down and just saved like crazy. And then I was able enough to get a house, our last home. If you go back on my videos, you'll see it was a beautiful home in a nice community, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and all of that from homeless to having that. Then if you fast forward through that, we stayed there for quite some time, and we knew we wanted some land out in the country, and we knew we wanted a good amount of land that we can just really be free and just enjoy ourselves. So I could take these walks and talks out here on this property with you and bring you along. And y'all seen the journey that we took for this. But we walked away from the convenience of the city life, and we lived our grid for over 2 years. And we learned a lot about ourselves. We learned a lot about our journey. And then now we're sitting here with land is paid for, and I got a couple of things I got to pay, but it's not that bad. And I think about it. Through all that journey, I learned, don't get yourself in too deep. Keep it lean. Make sure that you have multiple hustles and always evolve. Always be creative. Don't give up. Stay focused, stay committed to your dream, to your goal. It may not seem like you're going to get there, but if you keep your head focused on the dream and you keep the faith and you keep on moving forward, sometimes you get knocked down, but you get back up and you keep on pushing. So some of you all may be going through some trying situation, job loss, maybe home loss, apartment loss, car repossession. But understand, these are materialistic things. And in life, God gave us everything we need right here on this earth. And if I can get it, you can get it too. Just stay consistent. Don't give up. Sometimes you have to step away, take a break. Make sure you get yourself whole, take care of yourself, and then get right back into it. And surround yourself by people that are positive. They may not understand your journey, they may not understand your walk, but just keep pushing through it, keep pushing on, and eventually you'll get where you're trying to go. Y'all stay well and stay blessed, and don't forget to keep on growing. Grow.